Hey everybody, this is Dr. Flight. Hope you're doing well today. So this video will be relatively short, and the context of this video is part of the segmenting, targeting, and positioning strategy or process where you form strategy to position a product and bring a product to an appropriate market. And so there's several activities that happen all at once. And the big picture here is we want to decide how to bring the product, or how to identify markets through segmentation that are profitable, and which of those we need to go into. And one of the challenges here is defining the size of the market relative to how many market segments you have and the degree to which you want to enter the market space. And so there's a couple strategies that are involved here. And this could be thought of as the step 4 part of this process. We've identified market segments that are profitable and that could be very good fits for us. Well, what if we have more than one market segment that we want to think about going into? More than one it creates a little bit of a challenge because our goal here is to create a different market plan for each segment, and that is expensive and so on. So stepping back a little bit, I want you to think about the market space, and we're going to go from trying to please everybody using an undifferentiated mass market approach to the other end of the spectrum, where every single individual customer is viewed as a separate entity that we're going to try to focus on. That would be called micro marketing. So there are these strategies then to enter a market space using multiple market segments. But it really kind of helps to think about these 4 strategies sort of on a continuum, where in one end you use a very broad approach where you're looking to try to reach everybody you can with the same marketing plan, to a very narrow approach where every single customer is viewed as an individual consumer and we have a special plan just for them. So you'll hear these terms called mass marketing, undifferentiated marketing. Somewhere between the 2 extremes, you have differentiated or target markets. You might also hear something called a niche market or a concentrated market. And then finally, micro marketing happens when it's a one-to-one experience that you have with each customer. At the very bottom of the screen, very bottom here, you'll see this kind of depiction of how, one product fits all on the far right, followed by kind of something in the middle where you choose and pick a few customers or segments. And then far left, you have different products and different marketing mixes that are designed for each individual person. So this is a really wide, extreme kind of set of strategies. But this is kind of the idea we want to go into. And so there's going to be sort of these 4 kind of spaces or ideas that we go into. So when we talk about micro marketing, as I mentioned, it's this idea where we do customized marketing for each individual customer. Each individual customer gets their own product, gets their own price, gets their own delivery, gets their own communications. We're doing everything customer by customer. You might also call this, with technology, something called mass customization, where we're basically creating a unique experience for every customer that's there. So each customer is sort of conceptualized as their own market segment. And this is really, really good for the customer. So the customer's needs are perfectly met. In other words, we are trying to create value by offering them a unique product that meets their specific needs. The biggest challenge of this is that it's super expensive for the organization to do this. It's more expensive when we think about our per unit costs, We have to have lots and lots of specialization for the product. It also costs more to communicate with them. So direct communications by person is expensive. So bear this in mind, that you have to have a lot of profit margin to be able to make good money and really make a business model work using this type of a strategy. Okay. Another strategy would be something that's, again, we're going to deal with more customers, but it's called a niche or a concentrated market space. Okay, so what we do is we find small groups of consumers who are very, very, very loyal to us. We're going to tailor a specific product to this small group of consumers. Now, the goal here is that we want to be able to dominate market share. We want to be able to be the number one market share leader in that niche within those customers for this specific product. We want to be specialized for them, but we're not dealing on a one-to-one basis. We're just looking at a very small market segment size-wise, but one that is very, very, very loyal to us. So our brand's going to be perceived the leader. Customers in this space are going to be willing to pay more and pay a premium to have our products. Okay, so that's a second strategy in terms of choosing markets market segments to go into, and kind of this whole idea of how do I enter a market. Third one is going to be something called differentiated markets, and we actually would call this targeting, or a targeted market approach. Now, this is one where the actual market segments are larger. And we might have 2 or 3 or 4 market segments that we're going to try to enter into and go into. But they're sizable. They're sizable enough where we may not need to be the number one market share leader in each one of these segments, but we're going to try to accommodate each one that we go into. So this sort of image here where we have 3 blue shaded in spaces, imagine those are 3 different market segments. And we're going to create a marketing plan for each of those 3 segments. So a special plan that has a product, how we're going to distribute it, our pricing strategy, our communication strategy. All of those will be unique for each of the 3 spaces or segments that we deal with. So we'll have 3 marketing plans, really, if you think about it. One for each of these 3 unique market segments. And again, they're larger in size, so we don't have to necessarily be the market share leader like we would in a niche market. But we do want to attack them and reach them with an appropriate offering. So think about this as where we're going to adjust our price based on the sensitivities of each of those markets. The products will be distributed through the appropriate channels that meet the needs of each of those 3 markets. And again, we're going to kind of modify our products, might adjust them a little bit, again, just to meet the needs of each of those specific market segments. Knowing that each of these 3 market segments, they're not the same, they're identifiable. Right? So there's not overlap. If a customer's in one market segment, they're not going to be in either of the other 2 because they meet some type of need that we're going to differentiate them based on in the marketplace. Okay, so this is a pretty common approach. It obviously has its challenges, but this is one way that we can reach lots and lots of people and meet them kind of in not a customized way, but in a more specific way. The last strategy is the one, mass marketing, or what's called undifferentiated, meaning that we don't really treat customers different from each other. We treat them all the same. And so as a result, we're going to have the same products, the same communication schemes, the same pricing strategy, and everybody's going to be treated the same. Now, the problem with this is that customers don't feel unique. It's not like they feel like anything was done specifically for them. And so their needs are oftentimes not best met. So in other words, we could probably meet their needs better by customizing the product and our marketing mix, but that's not what we're doing. We're trying to reach everybody with the same marketing mix. So this would clearly be this idea where, because of economies of scale and because of volume and size of our buys and the things that we're doing, we can reduce our costs from a marketing perspective. Our marketing costs are less per person, per customer, but the customers aren't always best met. Needs aren't always best met by doing this. Okay, so keep in mind, these are, again, we're pausing here to decide, which target segments or which segments we're going to target. This may be one, this may be several, this may be a niche, this may be not, we might not have targets at all. We might just do this undifferentiated thing. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to kind of think about this. And just simply with this short video, go back and make sure that you're comfortable and understand the nuances of these 4 market entry strategies. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in, and take care.